Hi guys, Ronan Will here.
And Michelle.
Michelle's trying to eat her candy as quickly as possible, but I refuse to let her. So we're going to do something a little bit different, and that's going to be a movie review. I've been wanting to do something like that for a while, but I don't know, just never had the time. Had a lot of other stuff to do, but I figured that this video would work for that today. Were you able to get your chair up higher?
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
A whole quarter of an inch. Anyway, so what movie do you want to go over today? We saw two movies. Two movies, not two movies. I can count. So we either can go over Incredibles 2 or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I cannot remember that name. The Fallen Kingdom.
Well, let's do Incredibles.
Okay.
That was the first one
So,
we've done.
Jurassic Park 2. Okay, so Incredibles 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, Incredibles 2. For those of you guys who haven't seen it yet,
Took them 14 years to make.
took you for. I was doing the math today. I was 15, almost 16 when the first Incredibles came out.
So I was 15, 14, 15.
14 going on to 15. And you know what's funny? That movie actually sparked a lot of animators that I know into wanting to become animators, and it's one of their, best animated movies of all time, blah, blah, blah. I think it actually marks the first Pixar movie to have a regular human as the main characters.
Yeah.
Because you can't really count Toy Story because Andy's in 5 scenes. Same thing with Sid and all the other characters.
The focal point is the toys.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue that, Buzz and Woody kind of look like humans, but
they're not.
They really don't.
They're
super cartoony.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, so are the Incredibles, but
yeah, but even so, they're more humanoid.
Anyway, so what did you think of the movie?
I loved it. It was really funny. A lot of action packed compared to their last movie, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the detailing, holy crap, the detailing.
We watched the first Incredibles.
Before we watched this one.
We watched it not only before, but we watched it after as well. They have it on demand, so we were able to just watch it whenever. Also,
I think we also own it.
I need to get that. I'm looking at my DVDs, and it's one of the ones we don't have. Anyway, so the quality of animation from the first one to this one is it's 14 years difference.
Yes.
But
wow, the detailing.
It's something to be excited about. Just the quality change.
One example that the first one, Mr. Incredible, under his eyes, you really didn't notice much with the puffiness.
Oh, that's because he wasn't tired in the first one.
No, but
he just hated his life.
Even Violet had that puffiness too.
Okay.
And you can see it better on the second one.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of the wrinkles, more of the movements on the eyes and stuff.
So we still haven't even finished discussing what the plot is or what's happening. So for those of you who haven't seen it, first off,
go see it.
Go see it before we do a spoiler review, because that's what this is.
So put a spoiler
3, 2, 1. Spoilers coming up. So it takes place immediately after the first one.
Yes, directly afterwards.
At the most, probably 24 hours.
Not even. No, it wasn't, because it's right after Dash won second place in that competition.
Right, but it starts with a flashback. It starts with I can't think of the agent's name. I'm terrible with character names, but
the one who looks like Agent K.
Yes, the one who's Agent K.
We're just gonna call him that.
Wiping the memory of Tony.
Right.
So I'm considering at least
24 hours.
24 hours, because it starts and then it goes, does his flashback, and then it goes back in time to show what happens, and then back to the present time type thing.
Okay, I can see that.
But anyway, so it takes place immediately after it starts, and they get to deal with the Underminer, which from the first one was the villain that popped up at the very end.
Right.
So
they do that.
They confront the Underminer. They fail horribly.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And
everybody knows.
They get arrested.
Yeah, because technically superheroes
are illegal. Which is gonna, if I forget to mention it,
you'll hear more about it later.
Just remind me about something with that later, because I actually have a theory about this Pixar thing, but I'll explain it later. Anyway, so they get arrested. Government goes, okay, don't worry, but they're shutting down the hero relocation program.
Right. Because of the budgets and superheroes don't exist.
I feel like Mr. Incredible is the whole reason why they're shutting down the program. Because in the first one, they had to be relocated like 10 times, remember?
Oh, yeah, because he kept messing up many times and wiping people's memories many times.
And that's why Agent K...
We can't remember his name.
This guy. Watch me completely forget to put his picture there. Agent K, as we're calling him, he tells him in the first one, he goes, look, we can't keep doing this, but I can relocate you guys for old time's sake. And Mr. Incredible goes, oh no, don't do it. We just finished moving. We're unpacked now. And it took them like 3 years to unpack or something, if I remember. Know. Again, it's small little details like that
nobody really notices
I really have
until
to
you watch it over and over.
100 more times before I can quote every line in that movie.
Yeah.
Unlike Star Wars. Anyway, you know I had to throw a Star Wars.
Yeah, I know.
Something Star Wars in there. Anyway, so they're shutting down the hero relocation program. They're forced to go into a hotel because at the end of the first Incredibles,
their house blew up.
Syndrome kind of blows up an engine and the plane goes. That was totally wicked.
Oh God, you totally quoted it.
Anyway, so that all happens. So they have no place to live. They're staying in a motel for
2 weeks.
2 weeks. They had 2 weeks.
Because the Agent K gave them enough money to stay for 2 weeks.
Right. So meanwhile, then Frozone meets up with
some random guy, a business guy.
The business guy. What's his name?
I can't remember his name.
We're terrible at
remembering
names. He meets up with
this guy,
entrepreneur, and he convinces Frozone to go
and find the other two
Incredibles, and they want to bring back Supers, which sounds like a good idea.
It does.
However,
the way he had it.
However, of course,
other people think otherwise.
Other people think otherwise. You find out that Mr. Good-hearted entrepreneur had a sister, and his father actually had direct lines to Gazerbeam.
And somebody else.
I like how you're like, I don't know that other person's name. Moving on.
Yeah.
And when the Supers went underground, they never came to the call, and the father died.
Because of the muggers and stuff.
Yeah. This actually brings up a good point. Why didn't he put the direct line into their safe room, into their panic room? Because they admit they had a panic room. But they never... He never actually... Oh, we're just going to leave it out for everybody to see, and, oh, well, panic room has safety, phone... Yeah, whatever.
Plot. The plot.
Plot got in the way. So they invite all three, Frozone, Mr. Incredible, and Elastigirl, into meet and discuss becoming Supers again.
Right.
Trying to reinitiate Supers.
So Mr. Incredible is super excited about it because he's trying to be in...
Seriously?
Yes.
Mr. Incredible is super excited. super excited.
Super excited. He wasn't just excited. He was super excited.
Imagination.
The more you know.
Anyway, so he gets really excited. He's like, yes, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do this again. Meanwhile...
The entrepreneur goes, not you. Your wife.
Right. Meanwhile, though, we just did a whole Mr. Incredible becoming fit and going back and becoming super. So you know how
super excited. He was excited.
His ego is huge. Like, to go with Mr. Incredible, he has an incredible sized ego.
Incredible? Incredible size?
Yes. We're going to have a pun counter starting now. Michelle, you're in charge of it.
No.
We're already at 50.
I know, I was going to say we lost count.
Anyway, so
now the entrepreneur is like, we don't want Mr. Incredible, we want Elastigirl, because they even said it that Mr. Incredible, based on the previous years, his, what was it?
Destruction record?
Yeah, his destruction record was through the roof.
That's not what they call it, but he basically destroys everything.
Yeah, so Elastigirl had the least amount, so they wanted Elastigirl.
Yeah, I mean, super strength versus agility and dexterity.
Yeah, it's completely different.
You're always better off going with the person who's least likely to cause insurance to get upset than the guy who's most likely.
Yeah.
Anyway, so most of the movie actually involves now, at this point, Mrs. Incredible leaves, gets convinced, first off.
Yes, she was.
She doesn't want to do this.
No, but Mr. Incredible convinced her.
Right, so he convinces her that it would be good for everybody, good for him.
Basically, because he literally says it too. Like, here, you do it, and then put me a word in.
Yeah, basically, he words it so it's good for his children. Which,
but really,
okay, yes, they don't have to hide their powers if this works. But in reality, we all know that he wants to be a super again. I mean, again, whole first movie.
Yeah. Quite literally, the whole first movie.
Now it goes, it's kind of like a role reversal from the first one.
Yes.
Where Mr. Incredible's going and doing stuff, and then Mrs. Incredible is staying home and taking care of the kids. So now you have it reversed.
Role reversal.
Where Mr. Incredible is stuck home taking care of the kids.
Well, Mrs. Incredible was saving the world.
Right. So, and that's where most of the story takes place.
It goes back and forth.
I feel like it's majority of like...
Mr. Incredible?
No, actually, I feel it's more about Elastigirl in this one. Because Mr. Incredible, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some great moments. And there's a lot of time spent with Mr. Incredible and the kids and everything. But it actually really develops Elastigirl, Ellen.
Ellen, yeah.
Develops Ellen's character, and she's now, you get this whole story arc about her instead of Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, and you kind of learn more for her powers and what she can do. I mean, heck, she had a motorcycle, and Bob, Mr. Incredible, had no idea she even had a mohawk.
That again.
Or a motorcycle.
They are, so, not to get off topic of just running through the story real quick, but the comedy in this movie, I don't think I've enjoyed a movie's comedy as much as this since, I want to say since the, I can't even say like Force Awakens or any Star Wars. I'm trying to think. The last time I enjoyed the comedy, like this much comedy, was Thor, Ragnarok.
Oh, right.
I absolutely could not stop laughing in Ragnarok. And I mean,
this was about the same.
This was about the same. Mind you, there's a lot of serious moments. There's a lot of good moments in this movie. But the last time I enjoyed a movie where it was like, okay, this is a lot of fun, this is funny.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, now we're going to the series.
Ragnarok, yeah. Which was, God, I guess that was 2 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. About a year.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
I again, it's like Ragnarok came out, then Black Panther, then Infinity War. It was just like
too many
superhero movies came out in such a short amount of time. Anyway, again, getting off
track
topic.
again.
We'll talk about the comedy and stuff like that. Character, like this is just going to be an overall, and then we'll break it down a little bit later on in this discussion. So now, Mr. Incredible is stuck home with the kids, which they end up. The entrepreneur actually gives them this home.
Yeah, like a free house, and the thing has like decked out.
The way that he words it, that this house was owned by another individual who's gone away for a while, actually makes it seem like the owner of the house was a supervillain.
It seems like the way it's set up.
Yeah, again.
Anyway, off topic on that one.
But so they get this house. And, of course, one of the best moments is they're going through the house, and Dash is racing around the house, and he finds the buttons.
Oh, yes.
Dash has an obsession with remotes and buttons. I mean, to be fair, I think it's supposed to be the era that it's set in is like TV just started coming out, and so like these kids are playing with buttons, and this is such a cool new thing. And
they don't have to walk over to press the button.
Dash gets the remote that controls
the whole house,
the whole freaking living room and house and everything, and starts mashing buttons.
At first it was like ooh ah, and then all of a sudden he's like, let's keep pressing more.
And he destroys the couch.
Yeah, he destroys
getting off topic. I'm sorry.
We're really
so they're going through the house. They're enjoying the house. So now Mrs. Incredible has to leave and become a superhero.
Right. She has a new outfit.
She gets a new outfit, which is very important later on in the story.
Yes.
Oh, we completely glossed over. So the way that they decide that they're going to prove that superheroes are needed again and superheroes can be used again is they have these micro cameras on her suit, and they word it like she has a ton of them hidden on her suit, but
really you only can see one.
They only really show one angle, which
whatever.
But
they do have
and this is when again you get introduced to the sister, and like
she's technology crazy.
Sorry, the sister of the entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so she creates all the gadgets. He sells the gadgets. Moral dilemma, which is brought up later in the movie, actually.
Yes.
There's a lot of red button issues and like deep story moments and stuff that most kids' movies don't cover.
Kids are going right over it.
So anyway, so she leaves. She goes to become
a superhero.
Miss Elastigirl again. And
Bob is stuck
babysitting, essentially.
And like in the beginning, it was so happy and good. It even shows like, oh, Jack is going to sleep.
Yeah, everything is great.
Yeah, everybody's happy, and then
all hell breaks loose, of course, because it's the Incredibles. Stuff goes down. Meanwhile, while Mr. Incredible's at home taking care of the kids, Mrs. Incredible fights crime. The first thing she does is save a train, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so saving a train is like the number one thing in Incredible movies. More Incredible movies.
Oh, right, because Mr. Incredible saved one.
Right. The whole beginning of the first Incredibles was brought about. The reason they had to go in hiding and everything was because Mr. Incredible saved a train and a guy who decided he wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah.
He saves them. They then turn around and sue him and more of the government than him.
Yeah. About the superheroes.
We got injured, so type thing.
Yeah. But either way. So now Elastigirl has to save this train that it went loose.
Yeah,
went crazy for whatever reason. So you find out later on.
You find out when she stops the train. You find out that there's a new supervillain.
Yeah.
Called Screenslaver.
Right, not Screensaver.
Not Screenslaver, but Slaver.
Yeah. And he uses the technology, like the camera, not the cameras, like the screens.
The screens. Hypnotizes people.
Yeah, he hypnotizes
people. More or less, it's a hypnosis thing.
Yeah.
Again.
Using technology.
Standard villain stuff.
Yeah.
The whole premise of Screenslaver is that like video computers, this stuff that we use every day is bad. And it makes people lazy. And, again, the same argument that's been going on for
years.
I don't know. It has to have been going on since the 60s when Incredibles takes place.
Yeah.
So anyway, the whole idea is that they now have to... She has to figure out who Screenslaver is and stop him.
Right. Easier said than done.
Of course. Meanwhile, she's also trying to promote being a superhero. So you have that kind of like having to learn the balance again of, okay, do I need to take time to promote or do I need to take time to fight villains?
Right. And while that was happening, Bob discovered that his little son, Jack, had powers.
You have powers!
Yeah.
Literally, if you've watched any commercials, they throw that scene in there
1,000
all the time.
And we finally saw it, and we thought it was the funniest thing.
Well, okay. Do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to just finish the overall synopsis?
All right, let's finish the overall. We're going a long time, that's why.
Well, this is probably going to be like a 30-minute. It's probably... It's probably going to be like almost an hour video, but this movie, we've been waiting 14 years.
And what's funny, let's wait for a second for that. They even said that at the movie theater, they had an intro.
Yeah, they had an
intro of the voice actors going, yes, we know it's been 14 years. Here's your movie, finally.
Which makes me hope that there's not going to be another 14 years before the next one. Oh. I'm hoping that it's just going to be like Incredibles 3 in a couple of years. And even if they just want to finish the Incredibles series, because
which is fine.
They kind of ended it on a cliffhanger again.
They did, like saying like, here's okay. Let's continue on.
So Bob is being overwhelmed. Jack is now got powers that he's got to learn how to deal with.
Dash has math.
Dash has math. New math.
Math is math.
And then Violet gets stood up by Tony because
she didn't know about
Agent K.
Yeah, because she didn't know about the brainwashing until it was too late.
Right. So of course, Mr. Incredible's trying to figure all this out.
Trying to help all three.
He stays up all night to learn new math.
And he's doing good. He's really Mr. Incredible, all right. Again,
new math is something I want to circle back to later. But he then, instead of dealing with Jack,
he calls Frozone.
He calls Frozone. Frozone freaks the fuck out. And so then they go to Edna.
Right, Edna mode.
Edna is one of my favorite animated characters of all time. If you guys do not like Edna mode, you guys are terrible people. Just putting that out there.
Okay.
So Edna ends up taking over
babysitting
Jack, and
once she finds out that he has 17 over 17 powers, she's like, "Ooh, what kind of outfits shall I make for him?"
She basically wants to experiment on Jack.
Basically,
which again, an amazing. It's just such an amazing sequence. Anyway, so
now Jack's with Edna,
right?
So he's...
And so now Violet obviously finds out that Tony doesn't remember her, and now Mr. Incredible has to try and figure out how to help that. So he calls up Agent K.
Right.
And he goes, "What do you know about this kid?" They find out where the kid works.
Oh, right, at the family's diner.
And they go to the family diner and mortify Violet. To be fair, again, Mr. Incredible has no idea what he's doing. He's being a sitcom dad at this point.
He is.
Dash is being a sitcom brother where it's like he's running away with it. He's just like, oh, she's gonna hate this. Let me build it up 100 times worse. Yeah. And keeps going.
I mean, Violet's a teenager, so she is going through the teenager.
Yeah, Violet's, of course, a teenager and having a heart attack at this point.
Yeah.
But, and again, that's most of what happens. And then once that scene's done, we go back to Mrs. Incredible, and she meets other supers.
Right.
For the first time.
They were from hiding, and then
X amount of years. They gave themselves names. They show off their abilities.
Yes.
Michelle's phone's going off. So it's like this big welcoming party to try and reunite the supers.
And while that was happening, Mrs. Elastigirl and the sister was talking.
Right. I just realized, sorry, we skipped over a major part. The reason they're having this party, Mrs. Incredible, after saving the train, she goes on a talk show.
Oh, right.
She goes on to the talk show, and Screenslaver comes back on. And goes, oh, well, I'm going to hijack the Prime Minister's
plane,
helicopter. They go, oh, well, there's too bad there's not that many people, not too many places you could look that doesn't have a screen in a helicopter or some, some clue that was like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So she goes and she saves the Prime Minister. Great action sequence.
Oh, it was so cool to see her move.
The action sequences in this movie are amazing.
Yeah. Compared to the first one when Mr. Incredible literally was trying to save the cat from the tree and all that.
Well, again, that shows the technology's capabilities from 14 years ago to now. It's so cool. They really like using her
elasticity.
Well, the elasticity, yes, but specifically the parachute mode.
Oh yeah.
Like. She does that twice for the train. She does that on the helicopter. She does it.
Even the first one.
I'm counting the kite that she does later as kind of the same idea of the parachute mode. They do it a lot, which, don't get me wrong, it's really, really cool, but...
What's the point?
Something else, please.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she saves the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister basically is like,
siding with you.
I'm going to help the supers come back and show up and everything else.
Yeah.
So they have this party now for
all the Prime Ministers of the world.
Not all the Prime Ministers. They're showing Elastigirl other supers that name themselves and
what their
have
powers
are. And because, mind you, anybody who was born or was young during the
superhero
for lack of a better word, probation of superheroes, prohibition era.
Gotcha.
They had superpowers, but they weren't supers. They had powers. They developed powers. They gave themselves names.
But they couldn't do anything.
But they couldn't do anything. They weren't acceptable in society, if you will. So because of what Elastigirl did, now they're going to make out and show the world. Right. And you get kind of your first look at a superhero squad. Yeah. Because you have Brick. Brick is not a guy.
No, Brick's a woman.
Brick is a wall.
She's quite literally a brick house.
You have Vortex, right?
Yes.
That's the fangirl. Vortex is like super fangirl of Mrs. Incredible. What was the owl's name? Do you remember the owl's name? I have no... Owl? Owl.
Who? I don't know.
Screech, I think, was his name. Because he had a supersonic screech and could turn his head like 360 degrees. Yeah. He was an owl.
Yeah, he was completely
an owl. Like, literally an owl.
Yeah, his whole outfit was an owl.
You had Crusher. I crush things.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about him.
And then...
Yeah, like Zach.
Everybody's favorite character.
Eruptor? No.
Nope.
Belt?
Old Man Reflux.
Oh, right. That's his name.
He basically looked like a frog, and his superpower was like acid spit.
It was like lava.
Reflux. He had reflux. Which, again, adult joke, which really isn't an adult joke, but adults would get it, kids wouldn't. So... She meets all these supers, and then she sits and talks with the sister.
Right. And then you kind of learn something odd about the sister. The kids are not going to understand, but the adults are going to hear the talk, saying, like, women's rights and TV's bad. It's some weird stuff, and you're like, what's going on?
She's very anti
hero.
Anti anything.
Yeah.
Anything that, again, she feels that, and this is where the argument earlier came in, where I was like, well, why didn't they just have the phone in the safe room?
Right.
She actually brings up, like, hi, cat. you guys get a tail. Come here. Okay. Here's Stormy's obligatory appearance in this episode. I'm pretty sure every episode that I have a camera in, she pops up for like 30 seconds.
Of course.
Anyway, so you find out that she has there's two arguments that happen, or three arguments really, that happen in this tiny little. It's like a 3-minute scene. It's not that long.
They're literally sitting in a chair while everybody else is like laughing and having a good time.
The first one is who's more important, the creator or the
creation.
The creator of technology or the salesperson.
Oh, right. So Elastigirl says
Elastigirl
the creator
Elastigirl's very in the marketing position.
Oh.
And
much I remember.
The sister, I want to say her name is Eve.
I don't know.
She's very into. No, it's the creator. The creator has the right to decide what's going on, and this, that, and the other thing. Hi again, cat. And then it goes from there. It goes to kind of like a woman power, like, I can do whatever a man can do, the feminist situation argument, which seems to be a very hot button thing for the last couple of years. It's the equal rights argument type stuff. And then the last one was, is technology making us lazier?
Lazy and stupid. It's kind of like the WALL-E thing going.
And a large chunk of that actually has to do with the supers. Or supers making it, so we don't rely on our own thoughts and this,
and making police and fire department lazy. And
right.
This and
the sister, again, is against. You find out here that the sister feels like there was no reason. Like, you don't need supers because supers make everything easier, and making stuff easier screws stuff up.
Right.
Again,
you find out
it's basically all the same arguments.
Yeah.
Just divided into 3 different pieces. So, we also skipped her capturing Screenslaver.
Right. So apparently
so Elastigirl figures out how to
find him.
Using technology, mind you.
Yes, she used
very
technology.
Important. They use the radio waves he's sending out to
backtrack it.
Standard hunting evil technology. So they find the guy.
Big fight scene for that.
Big fight.
Oh my goodness.
She
catches him,
reveals him, and this is the first time you find out that something's not right with Screenslaver. And that's when she unmasks him. He's like,
where am I? What's
going on?
I was just delivering pizzas.
Right. So that's your first clue that there's obviously a master villain,
right,
who's Screenslaver, not
this kid.
So
now there's a big party. So everybody has like a big party thinking that she did defeat Screenslaver.
Right. And then Elastigirl actually catches something because they're playing back the footage captured from, like we mentioned earlier, she has those micro cameras.
Yeah.
They're playing back footage, and
she noticed something odd.
Notices something odd. I don't actually know what she notices.
The TV on the background is showing her camera.
Right. He was she thought he was somehow hacking into her video feed. So she goes to investigate in their technology, and big surprise, which not really.
No, if you start watching and kind of piece it together, you kind of
the sister is Screenslaver, and she's evil. Oh, who didn't see that coming? Actually, they did a really good job of building up the brother to being Screenslaver.
Yes. Because
for the entire movie. Now,
we thought at the beginning of it, it's like, oh, let's show the supers how good they are. Let's give them a villain.
Yeah.
And that's what we thought that the brother was doing.
So.
Until all of a sudden we start piecing it together.
Okay, so something I'm notorious for, she hates me for it, is within about 20 minutes of a movie, I can point out the villain, point out the plot, and 100% accuracy. Well,
yeah, it's creepy.
90% accuracy. Sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know this little story piece. But overall, I'm usually very accurate. And for the entire movie, I would have sworn that it was either the brother was the villain or the brother and sister were tag teaming it. I did not think that he was a hero. And they did it so well. Right. They built it up so well. He was overly excited about these heroes.
Yes.
Overly, like, just nobody can be this genuine type story. Ends up he's actually genuine. Yeah. He had no idea his sister was
he was
a villain.
So heart-struck when he did find out.
So anyway, Mrs. Incredible captured and hypnotized into becoming evil.
Yes.
At the same time, all of the heroes at the party were also hypnotized. They get their evil glasses.
Which is keeping them hypnotized.
Right. So at this point, Mr. Incredible has gotten Jack back from Edna.
Oh, that whole scene was so funny.
Again, we'll go over that later. It's just I want to go over this real quick. So he gets Jack back. He finds out that Mrs. Incredible's in trouble because
a phone call
from
the sister
Eve, who at this point is enacting her. She's enacting her plan at this point.
Yes.
So he gets captured.
Right. So now
Frozone
finds out.
Frozone goes to save the kids
because something is wrong. Why the parents are not here? Right. So he goes over to.
Well, he was there with them.
Oh, right.
Remember, he called. He's like, "Hey, Frozone, I've got to go be a superhero. You don't have any powers, right? Okay, good." Like calls him. It's not. Yeah. That's not how it happens. But essentially, Mr. Incredible's like, "I'm Mr. Incredible. I have to go save the day."
Yeah. And now Frozone is with the kids.
Frozone's with the kids. The other heroes that were
now hypnotized crash the house.
Attack the house. Frozone gets hypnotized as well.
And the kids are booking it.
All three kids end up getting in the Incredibile.
Oh, right. Mr. Incredible
we skipped over this whole section about the Incredibile until this part because it's one of the funniest things. Yes. So, earlier, Mr. Incredible finds out that
on TV, his car was being sold by a millionaire.
To a millionaire who kind of reminded me of like a Steve Jobs type character.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Mr. Incredible takes out a remote control.
And
here's where we're going with this. He activates it, goes to steal the car back, and Dash is like all excited. He's like, "Oh, let me try. I want to take it. Let me shoot the rockets." And Mr. Incredible does the responsible adult thing and says no, turns off the car, and he's like, "I'm just mad. It's okay." Dash, of course, then steals the remote.
Right, he finds the remote.
And at this point, when they're being attacked,
Dash
goes, "You know what? Car."
And it actually brings it to them.
Frozone knows how to activate or set up the car, so it's all voice activated to the kids before he gets hypnotized.
So they got it set up for the kids. They're in the car safe. Frozone got hypnotized. Now the kids are out of there. They're like, forget it.
And so they're shooting away in the car. There's a fight. There's a chase scene.
Yeah, and the car beats the crap out of them.
Eventually they escape. And meanwhile, now everybody goes. All the supers that are hypnotized get invited onto the boat. This giant yacht. To sign into agreement that
supers are legal again. And, like, they have other heroes from other countries together with their prime ministers, and they're all going to sign this paper saying that superheroes will be legal everywhere.
I do find it interesting that they go into international water to sign this. I wonder if that means that they couldn't get the American, like, the president or the government to sign off on this.
Anyway.
Sorry, I was just thinking, I just realized that. So
now this is going on. They're about to sign the papers.
And while that's happening,
the kids are trying to get the parents back.
The kids find out that the parents are on this boat. So they drive the boat, or they drive the car into the water. It becomes
a submarine.
A boat, whatever. Which was hinted in the first movie, actually.
Yes. Because if you saw him go with his gears.
So they go onto the boat. They sneak onto the boat. Again, some of my favorite scenes are on that boat.
Oh yeah, with Jack getting lost and other stuff.
So they're on the boat. Screenslaver hypnotizes everybody to just standing there.
Right. While the heroes are doing her bidding.
Right. While the other heroes that she hypnotized already are basically being villains.
Right.
And she's broadcasting this. It was broadcasting before, and now Screenslaver jumps in. Basically to try and force all the supers
to look bad,
to be bad, and never be allowed back in society, essentially.
Right. So while that's happening, the kids are trying to save the day, trying to get the family's memories back.
I was going to say, they're not even trying to save the day. They're trying to get to their parents, and that's it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then Jack finally finds Mom.
Jack finds Mom. He uses telekinesis to free her from the hypno goggles.
So once she was free,
they end up freeing Frozone and Mr. Incredible.
And the others later on.
They end up dealing with all the others and freeing them as well. And then they have to stop the boat.
Right. Easier said than done, because Screenslaver hypnotized everybody to nothing.
There's a whole situation where Screenslaver is trying to escape on their plane that's part of the boat.
Yeah. There's so much stuff.
The brother shows his true colors, and he's like, screw this, screw you, I'm staying with the supers. We did so much work, why would you want to do this?
Right, he's all upset that his sister is doing this.
Evil, yeah. Essentially. As most people would, I guess. So then he frees all of the ambassadors and everything by breaking all the hypno walls. And then, what else?
They're trying to stop the boat before it crashes into the city.
Again, this is one of my favorite sections, is the boat scene. It's also one of my biggest issues with the movie, is this boat scene. I'll explain later, but so they end up stopping the boat.
Yes, finally.
Get out, stopping the boat. All's good.
Woohoo!
They save the day. Supers are now legal again.
Right.
And it ends with them dropping Violet and Tony off at a movie. They were going to all go to the movie, and
things happen.
If you remember, or if you're a teenager and you've gone on your first date is you go out with your date, you sit in one row, and then the parents sit back. 6 rows back.
Watching,
seeing what's going on. That was what was going to happen. And of course, there's a bank robbery, I think.
I think so. And so they have to bye, Tony, goodbye.
Right.
And off they go.
That ends the movie, which makes me think they're going to do a third movie. Also, at the end of the credits, we didn't stay for the end of the credits, but I saw a clip at the very end of the credits. They had the Underminers escape pod going by, just to be like, hey, remember, he's still here. So that wraps up the movie itself.
Yes.
Obviously, we glossed over anything that's not plot related. So
let's kind of look through the individual character now.
Yeah, we can do a quick wrap up of each character. Just their story, I guess, or some
story plot.
So Mr. Incredible, he really didn't change. I guess
he really didn't.
He went from being like the main protagonist in the first one to
a sidekick,
a side character, and he had to learn how to deal with being the side character.
Right.
Which is seen in that one scene where she's describing the day and he's going through the channels and getting more and more angry.
Because she's on the episode.
Because she's in, like, every news channel is talking about her and
not
how
him.
Great she is and not him. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
He did learn to be a father, which...
More dad. He was so focused on being a hero, he really didn't focus on his kids.
I mean, to be fair, in the first one, you get the sense that he's never home because he's the breadwinner. He's the father figure.
So now he has to, like, figure out.
Yeah, in this one, it's more of like, okay, now I have to be with my kids. But, I mean, his story arc kind of was just like, okay, there we go.
Yeah. Then you have Violet. Or should we say Mrs. Incredible? I mean, let's do.
I was going to say Violet is not Mrs. Incredible.
I was just saying, let's do Elastigirl.
Ellen, Elastigirl. She actually got more character development than anybody else in the story.
She got real badass. She's very smart,
I'd say
too.
She's the most developed character, even out of the villain. With the villain.
Yeah.
She went from, in the first one, she was, again, it's role reversal. So in the first one, she was with the kids and she was not very well developed. Like, you got some sense that she's the mother figure.
Yeah.
But that's about it. This one, you find out that she was a very,
she was very
unique. She was a wild hero in her youth.
Yeah.
What was it? She had a
motorcycle and a mohawk.
Yeah, there's a moment just after they finish exploring the house where they find
the Elastigirl
Elasticycle.
Oh yeah.
So they're like, Mr. Incredible goes, "Oh, I didn't know you knew how to ride a motorcycle." And she turns around and she goes,
"Well, you didn't know I had a mohawk too."
"Yeah, you didn't know I had a mohawk either." He's like, "A what?" And she drives it off.
She's like, "Bye, honey." Oh, okay, we're done.
But I mean, that's, again, you got a sense of like her personality more.
She was more wild, that's for sure, in her younger days.
Well, yeah, you got a little sense of what she was when she was younger, but you also get like her morals. You get a lot more of her morals than you did in this one than you did in Mr. Incredible in the first one. You find out, where she stands on a lot of things with the supers and everything. There's there's a whole big fight in the beginning, whether they should become supers again or not.
Oh, right.
And what it means to, break the law, to fix the law, a whole...
It was a big thing.
Again, there was a lot of adult concepts in this movie, which I guess they wanted to do compared to the first one because, again...
The adults saw the first one as a kid. Now they're seeing it as an adult.
I mean, again, I was in middle school when The Incredibles came out, and now I've graduated college and,
doing this.
I'm in a career. So, yeah, she was developed a lot more. She's not as funny
No, she was very
as
serious.
the other character. She was a very serious character. So then you have the kids. You have Violet and
Dash. Jack.
I'm going to do Jack separately because Jack has his own thing.
Oh, yes. So let's do Violet.
Violet, again, the kids were like second string characters up until the third act.
Then they have more things going on.
Again, Violet was dealing with being a teen.
Yeah, she's
being stood up and dealing with the kid.
Dealing with her dad.
Yeah, there was this one scene later once Bob, Mr. Incredible, finally starts becoming more of a father figure, where he's been working his ass off for days. He hasn't slept in days.
Right.
And I think it was just after they got...
he dropped off Jack.
Was it just after he dropped off, or was it just after he got him back? I can't remember.
Dropped off. Because he fell asleep on the couch.
And he fell asleep on the couch, and Violet comes in and tucks him in and takes care,
She took care of the rest. Even waking up, she
kind of developed. In the beginning, she was like very, I don't want to be responsible for Jack. Why is it my job? Dash, watch, older sibling syndrome, if you will.
You know that very well.
I never really had to watch my brother or sister, though.
Never mind.
Anyway,
so
there was that whole thing. At the end, she did develop a little bit more, where she's now
more adult, I guess, about
Don't worry. She goes, "Don't worry, Dad. I'll watch Jack.
Right.
You go save the boat."
Stuff like that.
Which really didn't make any sense anyway, because there was like 10,000 adults there that they could have literally left Jack with any of them.
Yeah, but still.
I mean, so her arc kind of, she got a little bit more mature. Dash,
he's still crazy.
Dash didn't change.
He really didn't.
Like, from the beginning, he's the little brother who's a pain in the butt. At the end, he's a little brother who's a pain in the butt, but a little bit more mature.
Not by much. But it's funny.
He didn't have a development.
No. But in the animation standpoint, he did.
Yeah, he's probably the most changed out of all of the
His hair
Incredibles.
changed.
Yeah, which I'm confused why they changed it, since it's only supposed to be a few days. Like, from the first one to the second one, he now has a lightning hairstyle.
Yeah, it's like a curved.
Again, it only was like
and it's
3 days. I don't know why his hair was like that much longer.
And that curve and the color too was darker.
Yeah, again, the color change could just be because of the quality of the video, but I don't know. Really, you don't know how long from when she starts being a super to the end of the movie actually it is.
It could be like a year. It
could have been
a day.
I doubt it was a year. It could have been. It probably was a couple of months, which would give Dash time to get his hair grown. But it was literally like the second scene that they showed him. He went from short hair to long hair. I'm like, they were just put up in the hotel for like 24 hours.
Yeah, and he already has the hair. Anyway, so after Dash really didn't have that much development.
Then you have, of course, Jack.
Oh,
Jack went from being just that one-note little baby character, we have a son, to being the best comedy relief I've seen in a long time.
Num num Jack. Num nums.
Jack's num num cookies.
Num num cookies.
No, he goes from being like just this one-note character that's like, we have a baby.
He can't do anything.
To, oh my God, he has powers.
Not just one power. No.
He has 17 powers, and they show all 17 powers in the movie.
Even Edna Mode had such a fun time with him.
Edna Mode
with Jack was the funniest.
So Jack shows his powers. The first time he shows the powers, Mr. Incredible puts him to bed and reads him a story. He goes to bed, and then Mr. Incredible comes downstairs
to watch TV,
and Jack's sitting there watching TV already. He's like, "What?" So he does it again
a few times, and finally.
Well, the second time he puts.
Oh, the table up.
He puts the table up, and he
books and stuff. Keep it
He's just calculating what he can put. Maybe I guess he's thinking that Jack might have the ability to crawl really well.
Climb as a baby.
I don't
babies know how to climb.
Yeah, I don't understand why he went that extreme with piling everything
but he was
on
trying.
there. It's almost like he knew Jack had powers beforehand.
But
that's why he put the table and then just tons of stuff on top of the table to weigh the table down. He's like, he must have super strength. Almost I don't know.
Who knows? So then he goes back down the stairs, and here's Jack sitting on the
sitting there.
Sitting there. He's like, what?
So then he gives up, of course, and he falls asleep watching TV with Jack.
And at this time, a raccoon was going through the garbage.
By the way, did you notice what TV show they were watching?
Oh, I can't remember.
If I remember correctly, it was a superhero TV show. I know they were watching Johnny quest in one of the other scenes.
Right, but this one I can't remember.
I thought it was a superhero movie or a Western, and Jack starts acting like the hero in the Western.
Right,
you know?
because the bandit was...
Bandit is the raccoon. So at this point, he teleports himself, or he phases himself.
He phases through the window.
That's the first power you see him use in the movie. Technically, the first power you see him use is teleportation, but you don't see him. You just see him there and there.
Right. But this is you see him personally going through the window.
He phases through the window. He gets his foot stuck. He pulls a foot. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he's beating up. He's fighting with the raccoon. One of my favorite scenes is he hits the raccoon, and the raccoon gets tangled up in lawn chairs.
Oh, right. So now the thing is like, I'm stuck. What do I do?
The raccoon's fighting his way out, and Jack just gives him like the evil look.
Oh, yeah.
Touches the first chair, and it bursts into flames, and the raccoon's just like, oh fuck.
I'm gonna die. Gotta get out.
So he's fighting to get out, and
while this is happening, Jack's slowly walking closer.
He's burning all the other chairs.
And now he's on fire too. Jack is on fire. That's the next
Again, it was just an amazing sequence.
Oh, and then Jack with the laser eyes. He had it further apart, then he started to put it closer together, and he was really trying to learn his powers. So
learn his powers. He went from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds.
Yeah. So now at this point, you just see Jack and the raccoon really duking it out, and Bob woke up from this. Bob woke up and he's like, "Oh no, get away, raccoon!"
And he finds out that Jack didn't get any scratches on him.
Right.
And then Jack sneezes, and again in the commercials they play it all the time. He does. What is it?
He burns up,
turns into fire. He does laser
eyes,
and electricity.
Oh, and then so he goes, you have powers. And while that's happening, Jack still wants the raccoon.
Yeah,
so he
Jack
multiplies
himself too.
And so Bob's like, holy crap, how many babies do I have now?
To attack the raccoon. So the whole, there's a whole running thing of Jack just
all these
being
powers.
Overpowered with all these powers. So
poor Bob didn't know what to do.
I mean, so he did develop a lot from that one note, he's a baby, to he's a crazy character with superpowers.
Not just one, just 17 powers.
Again, 17 powers.
Like, oh my goodness.
Not even going to attempt to list them all because
there's so many.
So many. But anyway, so they do the Edna Mode thing.
Right. And she fell in love with him.
This is where we glossed over it before. Edna Mode, when he brings her to Edna,
Bob was like, please babysit the baby.
Yeah, just babysit him.
And she's like, no.
Take him for 24 hours. I just need to sleep, essentially.
Yeah. And
which most parents, I guess, at that point do.
Yeah. So she's like, no. I don't want, I can't babysit. And then
as soon as he shows her his powers, and the power that he uses is only used in that scene.
Right. He has the same hair as her and the nose. And
he can morph. He can metamorphosize himself.
Right. So after that happens, she's like, I'll take him.
She's interested in
the baby now. And at that time,
babysitting, aka experimenting on him.
Because when he sneezed, there was another part where he sneezed, he shot up like a rocket.
Yeah. So
she took the baby.
The next scene with them.
So now Bob's all rested and driving back to Edna.
The next scene, Edna does the whole, going over everything and showing him the new suit and everything. But when they're walking down the
oh my goodness,
hallway,
that was so funny. So Edna's on one side, Bob, and then Jack.
And Jack's on the other, and Jack is copying exactly what Edna's doing.
The walk and everything.
He's got the little lollipop. He's like,
yeah.
And then they go to
to the lock-in.
The locks, and instead of Edna undoing the locks, she tells Jack, and Jack has to do all of the locks by himself.
Yeah, and she was like so proud of it too. Edna was so proud that it was him that was doing it.
And she points out something that was referenced in the Jack short, Jack Attacks.
Yeah. As
well as when Kari was babysitting in the first one, Mozart. He responds well to Mozart. I think it was Mozart and Bach. And then Beethoven he didn't like. It was
way,
a whole joke about different musicians.
Yeah, he reacted to certain musicians.
Anyway, so she develops this suit that can actually detect what his what his power is going to do.
And kind of like changes it to...
the foam.
Yeah,
the combustion foam.
Yeah, so Edna gave Bob this device that can actually, like, if he goes invisible, he can be found, or if he teleports, he can be found easily. So now he's but he's... They're
showing him in the glass that, in the first
movie you see, going through the video.
And
so now you see probably commercials do it.
Yeah, and well, I love that she points out Bob's freaking out. He's like, oh, he's doing this. I've got to get his Num Num cookies. And she goes...
And I was like, don't worry.
She goes, anytime... I've already experimented with his Num Num cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you use Num Num cookies, it results in Demon Baby.
Yes, and she actually shows a cookie, and then all of a sudden Demon Baby comes out. And now Bob sees the thing going combustion.
What does that mean?
And she means fire, Bob.
It means fire, Bob.
And all of a sudden, pff, baby.
He combusts, and then...
And that's when the foam takes place.
Just hit the foam button. It's purple foam that's edible or something.
It's like lavender, and it's supposed to be good for him, good for his skin.
But, I mean,
she really cared about Jack.
That whole scene was amazing.
So now Jack has this suit throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, so now he's... Yeah, again, we're getting way too deep into this again. So, other character developments. Frozone really didn't change. Edna Mode didn't really change. She was still that high fashion, like, just great character all around.
She cared about the family, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And she got so mad. She got so mad that, what's her name? Elastigirl got a new suit. And Edna's like, a new suit? Who was it? And then she's like,
remember that was one of the requirements for her to watch Jack.
Right. Now the whole family has to be from...
and forever. That Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Incredible,
the kids and
Frozone all have to have their suits made by Edna.
Yes. No matter what.
Did I mention Edna is the greatest character in the movie?
Yes, multiple times.
Edna is the greatest character in this movie. In any movie. In movies in general.
Anyway.
Movies.
So after that, Frozone
really didn't develop. But this is the part where I wanted to bring up something that annoyed the hell out of me in this movie. Was the ending scene. Okay? So they have to turn this boat. The controls, of course, get smashed.
Oh, right.
So Mr. Incredible and Frozone are left to take care of the ship. So Mr. Incredible
goes underwater.
Shows how incredibly strong he is. Goes underwater, ties himself up, and stays under there for
so long.
I swear it had to be 10 minutes. He
his lung capacity has to be freaking amazing.
It reminds me, if you guys have ever played Monkey Island, the old video game Monkey Island, a guy, I think his name was Guy Thiefbrush or something. He had a superpower. He was a pirate. His superpower was he could hold his breath for 10 minutes. And it comes up in the game. If you wait, he gets put underwater, and if you wait 10 minutes, he goes, I can't hold my breath any longer. And you get a game over. But that's what Mr. Incredible's whole lung capacity thing reminded me of.
So while he's doing that, Frozone is icing up.
Frozone is supposed to be icing the
water to get him to.
First off, he's not supposed to be icing the water. He said he would volunteer to break one of the manifolds, so it's up on a manifold like this, and so he said he'd break the fold so it would force the ship to turn.
Right.
My issue is Frozone's power level in this.
It changes so many times.
So weak in this Meanwhile, like, you see him developing sheets of ice, walls of ice, and instead of being able to, he makes these tiny little
like
ice cubes.
Yeah.
It's like ice cube. Boop, boop. Why isn't this working? If only I had the power to make more ice.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the first one, he had the excuse in the building that it was hot and he was dehydrated.
Yeah.
And there was no air. Water there was no water in the air. This one, it was just like, you're on a boat. An
ocean.
Why can't you just make something bigger? Oh, because it wouldn't make it too close to the land.
Right. Anyway.
Again, plot convenience.
Yes.
And that's one of my biggest issues is, like, the plot convenience with this.
A lot. There's a lot of it.
Just, I mean, not too much, but that scene in particular, there's a lot of it. Again, Mr. Incredible, for some reason, his super strength isn't enough super strength to turn the boat
around.
But after, like, 5 minutes underwater, he then has the super strength.
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, that's happened. We did gloss over Mrs. Incredible goes up into the
plane.
Into the plane with the help of Vortex. Which, again, she's learning, like, you could see that she's learning how to use her powers. But eventually she gets up there and...
Fighting Screenslaver.
Fighting, I wanted to call her Edna. Fighting Eve. Eve does the whole, oh, if I just remove the oxygen, you're going to die. And in the first movie, you find out that... what's her face? Mrs. Incredible is actually a pilot, a trained pilot. Something else, I wonder if Mr. Incredible knows.
I know, she showed pictures and stuff, so you would think.
Anyway, so
she kind of knows.
She kind of acts loopier than she is during that scene, and then
because she wants to get closer.
Again, it's one of these things that, like, it kind of seems forced into there, but at the same time it's kind of cool because, like, you can see that she's a strategist. She's a lot smarter than what she lets people realize.
Yeah, she's thinking it out. She's biding her time until finally she did it.
So the last thing is Screenslaver.
The villain.
I mean, the other secondary characters didn't really get that much development, but they really didn't have that much screen time. Hell, even the entrepreneur didn't have as much screen time as I thought he'd have. But Screenslaver had a decent amount.
Yeah.
If you consider both Screenslaver in the costume and the sister.
Yeah.
So they did a good job, like, doing backstory on Screenslaver with,
like, what
my
happened?
Parents, you know, why did my parents do this? Instead, they could have done this. It's because my father was an idiot and believed in supers.
And what's funny with the brother, he looked at it a different way.
Yeah, he looked at it as the law killed his parents, where she looks at it...
The superheroes
believing in supers killed their parents.
So, two different ways of thinking.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, they developed her very well.
Even, like, technology-wise, like, it was up there.
Yeah.
She figured out hypnosis and not even tell her brother.
So, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. It's one of my favorite Disney movies and
Pixar.
Definitely my favorite Pixar movie that has been made.
Yeah, recently.
Well, second favorite. I still have to say Brave is my favorite. So it would be Brave, Incredibles 2, probably Incredibles 1.
Yeah.
Those are my top three. So real quickly before we finish up here, the one thing that I wanted to talk about was I feel like this movie. So now this is just a theory of mine. I feel like the Marvel MCU and Big Hero 6 can all be in the same universe. Because think about it. So the very first hero, very first super that we know about in Marvel was Captain America.
Right.
Okay, Captain America gets frozen. then these supers come out, the Incredibles. They're during the
Their
50s
world.
and 60s,
where
okay. Superheroes are on the rise, and this is so cool,
right.
superpowers. Then something happens.
The prohibition type.
Then they try to get themselves back.
That at the same time, the technology is getting better and better.
And see, that's why I feel like this all ties together, because of the technology gap. It's like, here's where we are in modern day. And any Marvel stuff is like way up here, and it's supposed to be modern day.
Yeah, well, like their holograms.
The Incredibles kind of point out, well, here's how it got this high.
Yeah.
Because, and so I'm thinking that what if it was Captain America,
The Incredibles
1 and 2, then the next movie I think is Iron Man in the Marvel MCU.
Yeah.
Leading up to modern day. And I think where Big Hero 6 and everything fits in, I think that's actually modern day as well. Well,
no, that's further
I think that's further in the future, going by their technology and the robots and everything, and San Francisco.
Yeah, right.
So I kind of feel like you could draw a connection to those movies, which is interesting because technically it's 3 completely different studios.
Right. Yeah, the Pixar studio for Incredibles.
Pixar's Incredibles.
Marvel's Marvel Studios.
Marvel Studios is the Marvel MCU.
And Big Hero
6 is Disney.
I mean, they're all the same Disney company, but studio related is separate.
So I think that would be really cool if that was like a thing. Like
a theory that they are connected.
I feel like at least the Incredibles and Big Hero 6 are connected.
Somehow.
The technology progression is like perfect for that.
And even in Big Hero 6, what's his name? The rich kid. What's the rich
Fred?
Yeah. He's like, superheroes are back. Superheroes. So it's like...
Well, see, and that's what's interesting is Fred's father, played by Stan Lee,
was a hero.
Is a superhero. And I need to watch Big Hero 6 and I need to watch The Incredibles 2 again. Like,
just see that.
I need to watch Incredibles, Incredibles 2, and Big Hero 6 all in a row.
To see if
it is connected. And find more connections other than, well, they're all superheroes and their technology makes sense to grow in this style.
Because it could be like even in the backgrounds of anything.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of feel like they refer to the superheroes as supers in Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just a theory I ended up I was thinking about as I watched the movie and after. And it's interesting because if you watch all of these movies, after thinking about this theory, it brings a whole new idea on what these things lead to.
Right.
So
who knows?
Who knows? Disney, let us know. All right, guys. If you like what we did with this and want to see us do other reviews or have ideas on other movies we should review,
comment below.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. All right. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.